Hello and how you doing, and welcome back to Two Jagoffs. I am your host, Austin Cairns, and we're right back here in Point Park University's Media Hub. And ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing on a very special guest this week. I've known this man quite a long time now that I've been here at Point Park University, and I've actually done multiple podcasts with him. We were just talking about that before we went live today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 1/3 of the We Are Family Pittsburgh Sports podcast, the one and only Pirate Peyton.
That was incredible, that intro. It doesn't get better than that. It doesn't get the Pirate Peyton, too. I didn't know if you were going to call me Pirate Peyton, but yeah. I'm Pirate Peyton. I'm back on Two Jag. Well, I'm not back. I was on Steel City Commuters. Now I'm here on Two Jagoffs. It's great to be here, sir.
And you were called, what, Peanut Peyton that episode, if I remember correctly? Because you had a little bag of peanuts when you were on Steel City.
That's right. I was hungry during the show. I said, Nick Brown, I'm sorry, I got to eat some peanuts. And so then I was Peanut Peyton.
Yeah, you were
for
Peanut
that
Peyton.
Episode.
That was great, too. Do you have any snacks with you today, by any chance?
No, you know what? I ate beforehand, so that way we didn't run into that issue.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I mean, I would have laughed
shout out to the Bison Bites and Brew, or whatever it's called.
I would have laughed if you pulled like a sandwich or something out of your pocket and you just started munching away.
Then it'd be like a constant bit for me every time I come on here.
This is our third episode we've done together. I was originally on We Are Family with you.
We're going to have you back by the end of the year, hopefully.
Thank you, which was with Nate and Jake, who are also both former Two Jagoff guests. Obviously, you just mentioned we were on Steel City, and now you're finally here on Two Jagoffs, just me and you, one-on-one. This is a first for us, so I'm excited.
This is great. Yeah, I'm one of the We Are Family Pittsburgh Sports podcast is on YouTube. We have videos every week talking about mainly Pittsburgh sports, but we dive into MLB, NFL, and me, Nate, and Jake, we all started talking one day, and we started doing that podcast, and we're over 100 subscribers on YouTube.
There we go.
All right, so that's a good first step. But and the collaboration of the different podcasts. I know we're going to talk about that in the pod games and stuff. The collaboration of the different podcasts has been fantastic with Two Jagoffs, T-Lane Graves, Have a Shift Day, the Penguins making a big push. I think they're going to make it, Austin.
You think they are?
I do. And I'm not the biggest hockey expert, but I've been watching, and it just, there seems to be a different kind of fight out of this team that you just don't see. Mm-hmm. Like, it's something special. It really is.
Of course, and I would love to give a little bit of an introduction to you to the Two Jagoff listeners.
Yeah.
Obviously, I already know this personally, and if anybody is from Steel City that listen, they would obviously know who you are. But just to get some more background, you're a student here at Point Park University. You are studying sports comm. Obviously, you're a host of a podcast. I guess I'll just ask you this flat out. What brought you to Point Park, and what made you want to join this career path?
Well, I always had a vibrant personality, I would say, in terms of, like, I'm always loud. Everyone complains about how loud I am, but that's just how I am. And I have the higher pitched voice, and et cetera. I've always been the I wouldn't say cheerleader. That's the wrong term, but I've always been upbeat and outgoing. My whole life, I was a performer. I love theater. I love being on stage. I love to sing in front of people. I love to talk to people. I always, as a kid, I didn't really have as many friendships with kids my age as I did with older adults. Like, I genuinely enjoyed talking to older adults when I was a kid and just talking about sports and baseball. It all started for me with baseball. You know, as a young kid, my dad and I, we played catch in the backyard, and I got into t-ball, and I played all the way through high school. But fast forwarding to high school, I don't even know how. It's just, I guess sometimes you make an impression on people, and it ends up working out for you. I was a junior at Northgate. By the way, we're kind of connected because Northgate and Carleton are both the same size schools. They're not 10, 15 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
In Carnegie, I'm in the Bellevue Avalon area. I still commute from there. But Northgate and Carleton always play each other in sports all the time. It's usually a poverty off of some sort.
It always is. Oh, yeah.
But I shouldn't say that because that's where I'm getting my story. That's where I'm going with this story is Brian Kiley was the principal at the time and the athletic director. He knew me for a long time. He knew me from when I was a kid, when I was the ball boy for the Northgate football team from 4th through 7th grade. And so this was during COVID. So unfortunately, our PA announcer got sick with COVID, and they were like, last minute needed somebody to PA announce. And randomly they just called me up. I was like super excited, but I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. But I ended up doing an okay job. And then eventually I became the full-time PA announcer. I do all the sports, basketball, football, volleyball, baseball. I played baseball, so I never really ended up doing baseball PA announcing. They don't do PA announcing for baseball. But I ended up doing that, and I've been there ever since. And I've got to do some playoff games. Our basketball team had some success, and I got a few other opportunities outside of Northgate, and it's been really fun. It's been a really fun experience doing that. And I think my main point, though, is that's what kind of kickstarted and said, hey, I want to go into broadcast. I want to work in sports. I want to talk sports. I want to announce sports of some kind. But I've also grown to learn to love the production side and appreciate that, because the more well-rounded you are, the better you're going to be able. The more versatile you're going to be when you're applying for jobs. So, yeah. But Point Park specifically, I had a lot of connections to Point Park because Greg Brown went here. Greg Brown, funny enough, I met him when I was in like third grade. He went to the same barbershop as me in Bellevue. And I know you've had him on the podcast,
yes,
right?
Yes, friend of the show.
And so that was really cool. So I've known Greg for a long time. And then I had a couple job shadows. I actually job shadowed Greg at one point. I job shadowed Joe Klimchak, who came to our school. He's not a Point Park connection, but super great guy. If you go to a game, you'll see him. He's the in-game host. My godfather, Dan Miller. I haven't seen him in a long time, actually. I miss him. He used to coach baseball at Penn Trafford, and he went to Point Park. He played baseball at Point Park. And all those connections, Bob Pompiani, it just feels like it's the center of broadcasting in Pittsburgh. And what I like about it, similarly to Northgate, it's a small school, so you get more attention. There's more, the classes, the extracurricular experiences, there's just more opportunities. And I made lifelong friends here. You know, Nate and Jake are just two of the greatest people. I hope they don't see this, because we don't want their egos to implode.
They might see it now. This might be a social media clip later.
They're two of the greatest people I've ever met, really. Like, and it's such a great friendship between the three of us, and for us to do that podcast together, it's not something I take for granted. And getting to meet people like yourself who are so motivated and do such a good job, it's inspiring. You know, it's inspiring, and it inspires me to want to do better and to, keep chugging along.
That's all you can do. And I mean, the collaborations that you make here at Point Park are so cool. And I love that you said that too, because you're not doing just one thing. You're not like dead set on, I'm just going to do broadcasting. I'm just going to do podcasting. You're willing to do whatever. You're willing to do the production side of things, the behind the scenes kind of thing. Do you happen to have maybe a favorite thing that you like doing, though, out of all that stuff?
That brings me to my point of, like, I don't know exactly where I'm going to land yet. Mm-hmm. I love talking sports. So every time we do a podcast episode, I become a better speaker, right? I become more knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is power, right? So I just love anything where I'm talking, reporting sports. That's my favorite thing to do. But from a production standpoint, I've enjoyed learning how to edit. I remember my sophomore year when I did video storytelling, I believe was the class. I was like, I've never did anything like that before. And I think being versatile in multimedia, if I know how to edit and I know how to operate a camera, that's how I can make content of me and others talking about sports and talking about the topics that we're passionate about. And I just find that if you're versatile in that way, it makes it very interesting and something that you'll enjoy doing in your career. So my career.
Totally agree. And I also love how downtown, like, we're so connected to all three major sports teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're in walking distance of pretty much everybody, which makes it so much easier to go and network, do internships, work on the fly. I know you've also been interviewing a lot of guests yourself recently.
Yeah, well, when we first started the podcast, like, we didn't even really think about guests too much.
Just you guys?
It was just like us talking ball, and we love doing that. But then and this is when I talk about the collaboration between the podcasts. We see how you brought on guests. We saw how a Shift Day brings on guests, and like how bringing on guests as college students running a podcast. Those are connections that you can have down the line. That's a big part of it. And so I'd say this year really we focused on bringing in more guests, and we had specifically I made a lot of connections at the Fan. Andrew Filipponi was on our podcast.
That's a big one.
That was a big one because he's busy. And, even though he's a local guy, he's like a big national name. Like you'll see him on FS1's First Things First because he went to school with Nick Wright and Danny Parkins. If you watch that show on Fox, and then we had Austin Bechtold, who I think he's kind of like it was kind of fun having him on because he came from a similar perspective as us. He's only 24 years old. And he's already a producer at a big-time radio station. And he worked his butt off to get where he's at. But all those episodes are up on our channel. We also had Kevin Gorman on, who the big Pirates writer. He loves to tell stories, and he had so much great insight. We met him through Roger Lenhart's class. Roger's been an excellent connection.
I would actually recommend you guys get him on. Roger's a great guest.
We should get him on.
I've had him on.
He's just so busy.
He is.
I'm gonna have to write that down on our list of guests. But I just always thought of him as I haven't known him for that long, only since last semester.
He'll do it too. Just be prepared. He'll show up a half hour early. That's the Roger Lenhart way. He always shows up early.
Well, there's a certain way he does things, and obviously I've never seen him work before as a producer, but like when people come in, like Rob Yitzbakowski and Rob King and Kevin Gorman, they say this guy's the best in the business. Like they're not saying that just to flatter him. They're not, you know what I mean? Like he knows what he's doing. And I think it's great that Point Park has these different people from, from the field that are working in the field. I know I got to ask you about Corey Graves.
Oh, hit me with it.
Because I wish I was in that class. It did fit into my schedule this year, but like, how has that connection been with him? Like getting to know him. What's he like?
Well, you're asking probably the best person for this because I'll admit it, I'm probably the biggest wrestling fan at Point Park University.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm in the wrestling business myself, so having Corey as a professor is very vital to me personally because I call wrestling every Thursday. I have his class every Wednesday. So I get to ask him, oh, hey, I'm doing this tomorrow. How should I do it? So I'm getting firsthand advice from an industry professional the day before I do what he does. So it's great for me, but in terms for you, like coming in and like what to expect, I would say Corey Graves is probably one of the best professors to have here because A, he doesn't treat it like a class because again, he's not really a teacher. That was never his thing, but he makes you feel welcomed. You get hands-on experience. You get, again, industry professionals. He brings in people to the class that like have guest speaking and stuff. I think he's probably one of the better classes to take here for sports comm, honestly. He's a great dude. Great guy.
Well, especially with that connection, all the connections, I have no doubt. Well, I mean, you never know where you'll land, but like I visualize, I mean, you're getting so much experience commentating wrestling that you're going to be on the big stage announcing wrestling sooner rather than later, man. And I mean, that's super exciting. And then if you get noticed that way, I mean, this podcast is even going to get bigger.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Look at this. Look at the brand.
Yeah, we got the merch here too.
No, this is the old brand.
That is the old brand,
and this is the new. I think you've certainly upgraded here.
Yeah, so it's actually weird. So this is actually the new logo. So this is what we're rocking with right now. This was just a gift that was given to me. And then this one was our old logo.
Yeah, but this looks similar to
It's pretty similar,
like the colors and everything. I really like it.
And we actually have this shirt on sale right now. It's a black version though, and it's like a little bit like this was a gift too. This was like a prototype. But we actually have the black shirts on sale right now, $25 a shirt. So get yours
Where's it at? What site do you get it on?
Just DM us. That's kind of what
we're okay.
So anybody just DM us. We got you. We actually just put in a second order. Our first order sold out already. So I'm pretty excited. Very excited.
Well,
but yeah, I appreciate those kind words, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
We were talking about wrestling
where
and
Corey Graves. Where are we going next, Austin Cairns?
Wrestling, Corey Graves. We're all over the place.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that's what you get with me. Because my mind is going 50 different places at once.
I know where I want to go. I want to talk about the pod games with you.
Yeah, that's kind of...
I do want to talk about those. So, obviously, it's two Jagoffs, have a shift. We are family and Teal and Graves. And the listeners already know.
Two Jagoffs... two Jagoffs is in it, obviously, but you and Nick Brown provided the coverage. You weren't in the games necessarily.
Correct.
But you're still much as an important part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We provide the commentary for it, and you guys are competing in different sports. First time around, it was flag football. Second time around, it was deck hockey, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure basketball is going to be right around the corner, hopefully soon.
There hasn't been much chatter about it. We might have to get that going here soon.
What's your
because
thoughts?
School's going to be over before you know it.
Oh, yeah. So what's your thoughts on the whole pod games right now? I mean, things got very physical
Man, I'll
and
tell you
very
what.
verbal last time around. And then I'll share with you my experience with it because I don't think I actually told you yet.
No, I mean, from an announcer's perspective, I'm sure you were kind of shocked because you've announced wrestling matches. I remember you told me, you said that was crazier than the wrestling match I did yesterday. Or so it was like
It was.
Well, the football game wasn't. It was more laid back. Like, I'm a naturally competitive person, so it doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna try my best. I'm not the most athletic person by any means, but I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna try and get in your head a little bit. I'm gonna get hyped. Like, that's just what I do. The purpose of the pod games is to promote all the podcasts at once. I think We Are Family, though, is the only one who's actually posted the actual footage of the games. Because Jake Bell is just his work. He just, when he wants to do something, he gets after it.
Can I cut you off for 1 second? Jake Bell edited 2 Jagoffs live for us, and it turned out beautiful.
Oh, of course it
Love
did.
Jake Bell. Just want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, and I forget what I was saying, but he's editing the hockey game now, so it's gonna be out. I don't know when it's gonna be out, but soon, like really soon. So we're kind of waiting for that too before we do basketball. But the football game, like, I was intense a little bit. It got a little intense, but it was more laid back. The hockey game was different though, because, and you'll see, you have to watch it if you're listening. You have to see this because it was because there was a lot of trash talk beforehand, and it got heated. Honestly, it was more at Tyler Beck's officiating, though, because there was a situation where he called a goal, and we thought it wasn't a goal, and then we reviewed it, and everyone was yelling at everybody. It was just crazy. But basically, how the whole, when we talk about it getting heated, Have a Shift Day, we got to be honest, and I love Have a Shift Day, but there were certain individuals in that group that thought, oh, they're just going to run away with this game because they're the hockey. I'm not going to say what happened. I will say it was certainly a lot closer of a game and much more of a battle than they anticipated because they thought just because they were the hockey podcast, they were going to roll in here and win. And I kind of was the GM of our team. I kind of designed the roster, brought in some people that were going to help us out, and it paid off. I'll say that. And Ryan Quinn, I wanted him on my team. They thought it would be unfair if Thiele, because we had Thiele and Graves go to their team, and I said, well, so that way they had, because they were missing some people, and so I said, well, and I'll want Ryan Quinn on my team because he wasn't on and he was on our podcast, so I wanted him to be on our team. That was like part of my thinking, and I thought he'd do well, but I didn't think he'd do as well. But the point of what I was saying was that he blew us away with his performance. But the point of what I was saying, that was the reason why things were heated, because there was a lot of trash talk on their end, and I didn't like it. And, I got in their heads a little bit through Snapchat, I think. And they came in a little over-motivated. I think they were too worried about, some of them were too worried about, getting physical and hitting people on the boards and stuff. But I hit a couple people on the boards as well, than actually winning the game. And I think that's what helped us. So.
And what a competitive game that was. And I'll tell you what, Peyton, from the broadcasting perspective, without revealing too much, let's just say Nick Brown wasn't there for this game, unfortunately.
I know, it would have been, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
If he would have been there, that would have been crazier.
So I got kind of bored halfway throughout the broadcast, I will admit. I did get a little bored. Not because of anything you guys did, just because deck hockey isn't really my mojo. So I may or may not have invited Connor Howard.
That's right.
Camera
I forgot about that.
As our, when she was just on the podcast last week, Connor Howard was actually my Keller commentator and sole camera operator. He pulled double duty.
We should have thought of that from the beginning. But
I thought that was hysterical.
That was excellent. And Yeah, have a shift day. They were well, and you know what? No, I got to stop because I'll give it away. I'll give away what happened. You just have to watch it. It's just peak content, folks.
And I love I think I made this announcement last week. We're going to actually be recognizing the pod games at Pioneer Live.
Yes.
Which is coming up on Monday, April 13th from 6 to 7 p.m. here at Point Park. One of you guys will be there. One person from Have a Shift and one person from T-Lane Graves will come on and kind of just talk about the pod games a little bit in front of everybody, because I feel like it's going to be cool to actually promote and showcase the stuff we've been doing. Because I don't think really anybody's done that. Like 4 different podcasts coming together to make content.
I just thought of an idea. What if are you gonna have like a video board or like a
I don't think a video board per se, but like I could always edit something into the footage afterwards, if that's what you're thinking.
Oh, I was saying like we could show footage from the game, like to show people like what happened. But I thought you might have like a TV or
If we're in Lawrence Hall, I can make that work. But if we're outside, which is where we're expecting, probably not.
Yeah, okay. It's just an idea. But yeah, it was. I can't wait. I still haven't really watched any of it. I can't wait to see it. And I'm so out of shape. I was getting gassed every 2 to 3 minutes.
Do you think you'll do better in basketball?
Me specifically?
Yeah. What do you think? Like,
well,
you a hooper? No? Maybe?
I was until middle school. I'm just not very like agile. I was a baseball player. I had some shoulder injuries and my hips are a little weird and my hip flexors, but that's a whole nother story. But I mean, I thought I did okay for hockey. Like I hung in. I held my. I'm a type of athlete. Like I hold my own. Like I'm not by any means blowing anybody away with my skills. But like I hold my own.
Okay.
So I thought I played pretty decent defense. I think that was the key for us. Is we played really good defense, and it turned into offense.
So, obviously, without revealing scores or anything like that, do you feel confident that We Are Family is going to come out on top in all this? Or how are we feeling about that?
I mean, you could context based on what I've said as to how I feel about how that game went. So I'm not going to say any more.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Let's just say this. As someone who is getting an outsider's perspective here and just kind of sitting on the sides while also still being a part of it, this is probably one of the most fun I'm having in a long time. It's fun watching all the podcasts battle, but also get competitive. It's pretty fun.
But it's also like memories that like all of us will remember.
Oh, yes.
It's like a group of like there's a lot of trash talk and stuff in there, but like it's, at least in my opinion, I thought it was all in fun and all in. I mean, there's obviously a mental aspect to it, and there's a strategy and everything, but like it's all about promoting the podcast and having fun and being a community together, because you only get 4 years of college. So, well, it depends. You may get 5 if you're like my buddy. I know Nate's doing 5 years. He's gonna get his MB. What is that? Was that what it's called? An MB? MBA.
There you go.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you want to remember those moments. I think it was just such a fun thing.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I know that like outside of pod games and outside of podcasting, you've been doing a little bit of like PA announcing and broadcasting yourself every now and then.
Well, yeah. So I would talk about the PA announcing. I still do that. Obviously, I do Pioneer Sideline. Last semester I couldn't because I had Rogers class. This past, I don't know if Nate or anybody's talked to you on the podcast about this. This past fall for football, this is another thing that happened through Point Park. Andrew Stockey needed people to. I may have said this on Steel City. I don't even know, but
I think you might.
But it's a new audience. So WTAE does their Operation Football, their high school football highlights, and they always had a group of Waynesburg kids every year go out and do a game every week. And so Point Park this year did it for the first time, and literally Nate drove to every single game and brought different people with him, and I was a part of that for several games, and so we got to shoot footage of a live football game, which is something I'd never done before, and we kind of had to learn how to do it. And I thought it was a great experience, great for the resume. And then we'd leave at halftime, edit the footage, write the script for Andrew, and we'd send it into WTAE, and then we would get credit, Point Park University. It's Northgate versus Carleton. This was given by, believe me, that was not a game that happened or was covered by WTAE, but we'd put that game up to and then they'd put that game up, and Andrew Stockey would say what the game was, and then it would say on the top of the screen. Point Park University. Thanks to the students, they'd say the photojournalists. Oh, I'm a big shot of a photojournalist of Point Park University for the coverage of this game. And that was really cool. I'll come home after a long day and a late night and to see the reward of what you put together. So it was really, really fun. And it was always with me, Nate, Jake Bell, McKenna Smith, who else is part of that? I think Ryan Quinn a couple times. I'm probably forgetting a few people, but yeah, it was really, really, really fun. That was something. That was from last semester. I'd say that was my biggest thing that I did. That I was like, wow, this is great. Yeah. I have a couple internships on the horizon. Ooh. One I'm not going to announce yet, and the other is I'm going to be working for PA Football News for high school football next fall, and I'm also going to be covering Pitt football for them.
Oh, hell yeah!
So I'm really excited about that. Ryan Thiele used to do that, actually. I don't know if you've had him on the podcast.
Yes, we have. Oh, yeah.
And he's working at Odyssey now, and the guy Billy Splain, who's at PA Football News, he's in charge of that. He runs the whole operation. I kind of told him, I'm friends with Ryan. I've done this. He really liked my WTAE stuff that I did, because I actually made some packages with my own voiceover on it for Sideline. I think I did that once, and he's like, "Oh, this is exactly what we want." So some things lead. That's how some things lead to the other.
Of course, and it's all about getting that experience, especially outside of Point Park. I feel like obviously use Point Park to your advantage, but go out there, network with other people, try other things. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing I've done this past semester, which I know you know pretty well. I've been stepping out of my bubble and actually doing more wrestling commentary on the outside, doing a lot of professional wrestling, which is my passion. So I started off doing camera, production, running cable, and then when commentary opened up, took that spot and then rolled with it as much as I can.
Yeah.
Shout out to the wrestling community, by the way. What great opportunities I've gotten since then, too.
Okay, so going back to wrestling.
All right, let's hear it.
Because I love podcasting, but I'm typically not the one being interviewed. I'm normally the one interviewing or
let's flip the script real quick.
So I want to ask you about your experience recently with the one and only Mark Madden.
Oh, boy.
Mark Madden is quite the character. Very highly successful in the Pittsburgh radio industry. And I kind of forgot that he used to do wrestling. And for him to just pop in and for you to be a part of that and to hear Austin Cairns and Mark Madden on the same call was interesting. So I'd like to ask you, I don't know if you've talked about it a lot on the podcast yet, what was that experience like at working with Mark Madden? What was he like with you?
Yes, I briefly mentioned it, but I haven't really gone too in depth.
Yeah,
I'd be glad to. Yeah, so it was funny because that was actually my second time calling a full IWC show on my own as the lead commentator.
Wow.
So me and my broadcast colleague, Dominic D'Angelo, he was on Keller for the whole show. And Dom has a bit of an edge to him sometimes. He's a little bit of the bad guy on the call. So
he was on the podcast too, I think, right? Recently?
He was on the podcast too recently. He was a bully on there too, but that's besides the point. But it was me and Dom calling the full show, start to finish. And I think there was 7 matches and 2 promos that I had to call, which typical long night, so it wasn't really that bad. And when we get to the arena, it was announced that Mark Madden was doing an Ask Mark Anything before the show, a little spin-off of what he does on the radio show. So
and on Twitter.
Yeah.
His Twitter Paul, by the way, follow me on Twitter at Pirate Peyton on Twitter.
There you go. At Pirate Peyton. We'll leave it in the description.
But yeah, he's very interesting on Twitter as well.
Oh yeah,
he loves his Penguins.
Yes, he does.
But continue.
Yeah, he was asking, doing his little interview at the beginning. Dave Kitch, the ring announcer, he was the guy asking Mark all the questions. And when he got backstage, I introduced myself, obviously, like I do with everybody. Went up to him, talked to him, like, "Hey, listen to your radio show all the time, man. Love what you're doing, blah blah blah." And he was like, "Oh yeah, pretty cool." And then I was telling him about my podcast stuff. So it was just nice, casual, quick conversation. Kept it cordial. And then the owner, Justin Plummer, he came up to me and was like, "Oh, well, hey, by the way, we're putting Mark on a match." I'm like, "Oh. Okay, do you want me to jump off commentary for that match? Do you want Dom? How do we want to do this?" And he's like, no, we got 3 headsets. You're going to be on the call with him going into intermission. And I was like, oh, I'm calling the match with Mark Madden. And he's like, yep. And so I didn't find out till the day I got there. So I was like, okay, I guess that's what's going to happen. So I didn't really get to talk to Mark too much about that because, again, he was doing a show out in front of the audience. So I'm just kind of sitting there like, okay, I'm going to be calling this with Mark. I'm trying to get my notes. I'm talking to Dom. Okay, hey, let's do this. Let's do this. And we go out there, and Mark just came out during the show, and I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the super genius, Mark Madden. Mark, it's good to see you. And Mark has a bit of an edge to him, too, obviously.
That's part of what makes
It's part
him...
of his gimmick.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
Which I absolutely love. So it's funny having two people with a bit of an edge making jokes and obviously talking about the wrestlers. And then there's me, a 22-year-old who has to lead this call for the 25th year anniversary show of a company that's older than I am, which is crazy.
Wow.
With Mark Madden to my right, a legend in this industry. So it was a surreal experience. It was a dream come true being able to say, hey, I called a wrestling match with Mark Madden. Not many people could say that. So I'm very happy, very blessed, and very fortunate.
He must have liked you, because if Mark Madden doesn't like you, he doesn't. There's no filter there. So like, I didn't even realize that because I constantly get notifications of his tweets and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I find him funny, and there's always something he's gonna say that's gonna make you think and surprise you in some way. So I saw him repost your tweet about being there. I was like, oh wow. So I was like, he must have made an impression on Mark Madden. Like, no surprise, of course. So now you got to have him on the podcast, maybe.
I guess I have to now. We got to get Mark in that chair now. That'd be great.
That would be something.
Oh my gosh, Mark Madden, Austin Cairns collaboration? I'll take it.
Wow.
That would be sick. It was funny, too, because he also, before he reposted my picture, he also reposted the IWC graphic, and he said, it was a great time calling IWC. Thank you, Dom and Austin, or whatever. It was great being with Austin and Dom.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And it was so weird, because I'm like, oh my gosh, Mark Madden just tweeted my name out for no reason. So I reposted. I was like, hey guys, that's me. I was on with Mark Madden. It was sick. I was milking the hell out of it. I was like, yeah, let's go. I was like, shout out to Mark Madden.
That's great. That's great.
But no, easily one of my favorite experiences as a broadcaster was calling it with him. Because I mean, I've called it with dozens of other broadcasters in the past, but actually saying that I got to legitimately call something with Mark Madden. And there was an angle that went pretty viral actually for IWC too. You probably saw it on social media. It was the presidents that was attacking.
Yeah, what was, because I'm not a wrestling guy. What, the presidents? They looked like robbers and like, explain to me the context there.
Yes, I don't exactly know what's going on. Long story short, there was a tag team title match. It was Bubba the Bulldog from actually, he's on the radio.
Okay.
He's a tag team champion in IWC, surprisingly. He still wrestles. Good old Bubba. And it was him and his tag partner, Bulk Nasty, versus the Upper Class. And at the end of the match, after Bubba and Bulk retained their titles, these presidents, these masked men came out. So
why are they called presidents?
Well, one of them was Washington, one of them was Reagan, one of them was Nixon. And
that's what their names were.
Yeah, well, that's what the masks were. It was a Richard Nixon mask. It was a George Washington
See, I didn't realize that. I didn't know what the masks were.
Yeah, they were masked presidents.
Got it.
Which was so weird. And we don't know who these men are, but they wreaked havoc. They tore up the ring. They beat those guys up. I didn't know what to do. I was just sitting there on call. Mark Madden was going crazy over it. Dom was going crazy over it. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, we need to get help out here. And yeah, I guess they're making a statement. I have no clue. Welcome to the wrestling world.
The government is getting involved. The government is getting involved here.
IWC's getting taxed, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, no, it was interesting. And it was fun being on call with Mark for that, because Mark was like, what the hell is this? And it's just so funny listening to Mark be confused. And he actually almost broke me. Here's a funny story. He almost broke me on call because I'm obviously freaking out, because that's my whole thing. I got to freak out and be like, oh my God, what's going on? I got to steer the ship.
You got to be like serious.
I got to be serious. Yeah. And then Dom is also kind of serious, but also kind of joking a little bit. And then out of nowhere, Mark Madden goes, hey, I voted for 3 of those guys. And I'm just like, Mark.
Wait, who was it? Washington, Nixon,
Reagan. I think Carter was one of them, maybe. Bush. I think Bush. I don't know. There was a bunch of, it was all like former presidents. Clinton,
oh my goodness.
Maybe Clinton? I don't know. There was definitely Nixon and Reagan. It was interesting, Peyton. It was interesting for sure.
I'm glad it's funny we're talking about Mark Madden, because yesterday, because sometimes I'll comment on his tweets.
Yeah.
And I've never got, like, he's never, like, gotten mad at me or called, because I've always been, like, respectful. But, he constantly has been saying, because he talks about the Penguins, he's constantly talking about how bad the goaltending is. And I'm like, well, this team doesn't really play good defense. And he keeps saying how, but last night he was retweeting what I was saying. We were like going back and forth in a respectful manner. We were going back. I've never met Mark Madden in person, but I always find that kind of cool, how he interacts with his fans I guess I consider myself, I don't really listen to his radio show that much. I'm more of the fan guy, but
that's fair.
Obviously, because I have a lot of connections there, but I always am looking at his tweets. And I've I'm gonna be honest. I'm a fair weather Penguins fan. Like I've only been paying attention really recently, but I've known enough for over the years to have some opinions. So it was that was I just find that cool, find that funny.
Speaking of the Pens, are you thinking they're going to make it in?
I do.
You do? Okay.
Like I said earlier, I think I don't want to talk too much Pens because it's just not my. I feel like my opinion on the Pens isn't as valuable per se as Ryan Jones's opinion on the Pens. But I don't know all the players as well. But I think what this team was missing was some young pieces to go around Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. And when you have a Ben Kindle, he's only 18 years old. He seems like the next superstar of the team, per se. You added him. You added, who was another guy? He was another young guy. I can't remember right now. But they also had some sneaky like free agents that out of nowhere just started playing well. Like everyone has exceeded expectations. Even if they didn't make the playoffs this year, like it wouldn't even be a bad thing. Because I remember hearing on the radio, people were like, "Yeah, this is going to be a bottom 5 team in hockey." And look at they're going to be second in the Metro. But right now, if the season ended today, and I think if they win tonight, they're playing the Red Wings. I think they're going to make it. It's very tight, but they have a game in hand on some teams. They just beat the Islanders last night, so if there was a tiebreaker between them and the Islanders, they'd have it. So I feel really good about them. And the defense and the goaltending, although I blame the defense more, I think the goaltending is much better now without Jari, because with Jari, there was no consistency. Like, at least with Stuart Skinner and Shilovs, it's consistently average, I feel. And Stuart Skinner, my thing with Jari was, when the playoffs came around, he was just terrible. Stuart Skinner has performed in the playoffs. Not that he's had some bad performances in the playoffs, but like he stepped up in the later rounds with the Oilers last year.
Baseball mode right now.
And took them into Game 7. In the first year they lost in Game 7, 2-1, and then last year I think they lost in 6 games to Florida. I wanted them to win so bad because McDavid, I think, is just. He's like the guy that reminds you most of Crosby. Mm-hmm. And
can't get over that hump.
I know. And he gets a lot of heat for that, but it's about the organization, the players you have around you. Hockey's very much a team sport. But yeah, I just think that they have a no quit attitude about them. Like, they constantly come back in these games. And there's a lot of hustle, a lot of heart, a lot of fight that we haven't seen from past Penguins teams in recent years. I don't know if they can go that far in the playoffs, but like, you get Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and now you add Ben Kindle into the mix. Anything can happen.
Anything's possible.
Anything can happen.
So I know you said you're not as big into the Pens as you are some other sports. Obviously, you know me. I'm wrestling all the way. Team professional wrestling. Let's go.
Yeah.
But what sport would you say you are the most excited for right now?
For me, I said this earlier. For me, growing up, it was baseball.
Okay.
But the NFL, the NFL is really growing on me, like, because it is, to me, it is the best sport in America. Like, it's the one everyone's always talking about year-round. I think MLB, for a while, was kind of behind the NBA in terms of popularity, but I think Rob Manfred, these changes with the pitch clock, now you have the ABS system, the challenges, all that stuff they've implemented have made the game more watchable to the average fan. Now, I'm a guy, I could sit for 4 hours and watch a baseball game. It wouldn't bother me. But I think they've made the game more entertaining to a national audience. And I think MLB right now is a more popular product and a better product than the NBA. Because the NBA, and that's another sport I'm an MLB, NFL guy pretty much strictly. And obviously I like college football and college basketball. But the NBA has an issue of too many 3-pointers. The regular season games don't feel like they matter as much. There's a lot of tanking, a lot of I forget what I was saying, but there was a lot of tanking in the NBA. There was a lot of I can't remember what I was saying, Austin. I lost my train of thought.
You are good. It's okay.
I lost my train of thought.
And
that happens. I know Filipponi sometimes on the radio. He's like, I lost my train of thought.
Well, yeah, I'll pick up what you're saying because I get what you're saying. The NBA has definitely taken a back seat compared to the MLB. And as someone who would probably be more of a casual basketball fan than a casual baseball fan, I found myself more intrigued with recent MLB games than I have myself with recent NBA games. And it's for reasons you brought up.
The NBA playoffs is a great product. It's just the regular season. It's just like...
And you would think it would be better with the in-season tournament, too, that they added, but it didn't really do anything.
Well, I don't think anyone takes it seriously because it's like...
I will say their All-Star game did improve recently. I was a fan of what they did with their All-Star.
Okay.
Game. That's one thing I will give them just because it did feel a little more competitive, especially with like the charitable stuff on the line there. So like I like the format they had, but even then still like I don't know. And I would probably agree with you. NBA is probably the fourth out of the four major sports. But you're saying
it's below NHL too.
If I had
I still
really?
think NBA is more popular than the NHL.
Oh, for sure. I'm just saying in terms of
how you like
from a casual viewer, like if I'm tuning in, I'd probably go NFL 1. This is where you're probably going to disagree with me. I'd probably actually go NHL 2.
Because of the fast pace. And people love that. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Then I'll put MLB 3, NBA 4. But for the longest time, it was MLB 4 for me. But these changes, honestly, like, I don't know. I'm right here.
It's crazy. Like, this new ABS system, the crowd reactions, when they put it up on the score. I'm going to the home opener on Friday. I can't wait to see an ABS challenge. Hopefully the game will be closed when that happens. Mm-hmm. And the crowd just reacts like a home run's been hit. Like it's just like it's such a I just love it. I just love it. I love that. I lost my train of thought about the NBA.
No, you're
apologize.
Good. Well, let's talk some Pirates then real quick. How are you feeling about them going into the season? You know me. We talked about this when I was on We Are Family. I'm not as big of a baseball follower as you are and as the rest of the We Are Family crew is, but I do know enough to be dangerous about it. So I want to ask you, Pirate Peyton, it's in your name.
It literally is.
It's in your name. What's your thoughts on the Pirates going this year? Finally made some moves, it feels like, but I don't know. How are we feeling?
It just felt like they did try. Yay! Hey, congratulations. But it kind of felt like they were throwing darts at the wall and just hoping something sticks. Like they were just like, whatever we could do to get bats. Because from a defensive standpoint and a lineups perspective, a lot of the guys they got, it doesn't really blend that well. But if all of them can hit at the same time and produce runs, the pitching will take care of the defense. Right? That's what their formula is for them to score enough runs where they can take a lead and the pitching can take over. And the bullpen, without Bednar, I'm concerned about the bullpen. Because I don't know if Dennis Santana is going to be as good as he's been. I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere. A lot of the guys in that bullpen have kind of come out of nowhere and have been really good. Like, will that continue? I don't know. Hopefully. The Pirates have had a lot of success stories with lower-end starting pitchers and bullpen guys off of waivers that you never heard of that just randomly just start pitching really well. Pitching hasn't been as much of an issue for the Pirates developing pitching as developing hitting. Mm-hmm. And as much as I love the additions of Brandon Lau, Marcell Ozuna, Ryan O'Hearn, Lau and O'Hearn have carried this offense so far. There has to be improvement from guys that have come up within the organization. Henry Davis he can't be the number 1 overall pick as great as his defense is now, which is crazy. When he came up, Austin, they didn't even want him to catch. That's how badly they thought of his defense. They're like, we just want him here for his bat. Well, his bat's been terrible, and his work ethic, Henry Davis has an excellent work ethic, and I think he's going to win a Gold Glove, maybe even this year at catcher if he stays healthy. But he's constantly been hitting way below 200, and you just can't have that. Something's just kind of always been off of his swing, and he has to be better. But more importantly, and I talk about work ethic, is O'Neal Cruz.
I was waiting for it.
He has been the scapegoat, but I won't even call it a scapegoat because he deserves the criticism that's come his way. I mean, all offseason, they've been talking about how his defense is going to improve, and then you embarrass yourself the way he did on opening day, going in on a fly ball that was behind him and then dropping a ball that was a weak pop-up and he didn't see it, but he wasn't even wearing sunglasses. There's just always been a lack of baseball IQ with Cruz. It feels like when you're a professional, when you're a Major League Baseball player, there are ordinary plays and ordinary things you have to do on a day in and day out basis that's expected. And it's not an easy thing to do, but when you're as critical of a part of the team as Cruz is, like, you have to do the basic things right. So that's number one with him. And number two, he has to hit better. I mean, he hit 200 last year, and that's if Oneil Cruz hits 200, it won't matter what happens with the rest of the team. It just won't. Unless, it could get to the point where they may have to bench him, and Jake Mangum is your starting center fielder. And I love Jake Mangum, but he's not going to provide the power that Oneil Cruz would. But I'd rather have a guy hit 290 and give me good at-bats and not strike out nearly as much than, a guy who's going to give you power and is going to steal bases and Cruz, but he's going to strike out a ton, not give you the focus every day that's expected, and not make the routine plays, and you just can't have that. So he has to be better. Brian Reynolds has not gotten off to a good start either. He has to be a lot better. I mean, he's always been a really good hitter, and last year his numbers dipped off. Actually, his numbers kind of came up to around league average by the end of the year, but he really, really struggled. But I do think Brian Reynolds is going to be okay. I really believe, but he has to be better. And people are panicking already after a 1-3 start, but it is a 162 game season. I'm just going to ask people to give it some time. Let Don Kelly, and people are on Don Kelly about the lineup and about the bullpen management. Like, it's okay. It's April. Like, we'll figure some stuff out. But when it comes to Oneil Cruz, I think people do have a right to freak out, because this is stuff we've been seeing for the last 4 years. Like, he's not a rookie anymore. He's 26, 27 years old. He has to be better. So I think there's hope, but at the same time, I'm saying it's April, but they can't get off to a horrible start like they did last year, or else there's no coming back from it. Mm-hmm. And you have to figure out a way to get rid of this. I think a lot of the guys in that clubhouse are just so used to losing, and it's like, how do you get the confidence as a team to believe that you're going to win? And that's the responsibility of the manager to get that out of guys. So I really like Don Kelly, Point Park grad. There's a lot of pressure on this team, and because if they don't win this year, or at least come really close to a wild card spot, then Sheringan's not going to have a job. And I don't know if Don Kelly's going to have a job, because, again, he was the interim and they gave him the job full time. Now, they may have given him a multi-year extension, so he may be here if the GM isn't there anymore. But I don't know. I don't know. And then the other big story with the Pirates, I know I'm going now. We were talking about tangents. I'm going on a tangent a little bit, but Connor Griffin is another big story. If Connor Griffin comes up and is as good as people think he is, or close to as good as people think he's going to be, that could make up for the lack of Oneil Cruz. And that left side of the infield is a concern, because Nick Gonzalez, who I think is a solid player, he's more of a middle infielder, and he would be an okay start, everyday second baseman. But on this team with Brandon Lau, you want him to be, as a bench guy who comes in and fills in different spots in the infield. But he's your starting third baseman at a power position. You don't really want him to be your starting third baseman. But honestly, from a hitting standpoint, he may be the best the Pirates have, because they didn't trade or acquire anybody or sign anybody to fill in at third base. They were close on Eugenio Suarez. That didn't work out. Mm-hmm. But I really do like Nick Gonzalez. But he was not. They put Jared Triolo at short because he was better defensively, so they had to move Gonzalez to third. And Triolo, every year they keep bringing him back and thinking, because his glove is so good, that he's going to finally produce. And he has put up the most atrocious at bats so far. And it's like, here we go again with this. And the Connor Griffin noise is only going to get louder and louder and louder if Jared Triolo doesn't start hitting the ball. Because last night there were runners on first and second. The guy had walked 2 batters in a row, Austin, and he swings at a ball 16 inches off the plate, and we've ended up losing the game. So like, what he struck out on 3 pitches, like, and they keep putting him in the top of the order. And I don't mean to harp on the guy because I think he's a professional and I think he's a great utility guy, but he's not a guy you should have in the middle of your lineup. Mm-hmm. Or when you have a guy like Connor Griffin on the horizon here, he can't be your everyday shortstop for much longer. Because if this team gets under five games under 500, then you're going to see some real panic. So,
well, addressing, I guess, the elephant in the room, there's one player you did not mention that I actually wanted to ask you about. And
Paul Skeens?
I want to ask you about Paul Skeens because, again, I'm looking at this from a casual standpoint, so I would love to get your opinion on it. From what I saw from opening game.
Oh, yeah, wasn't good.
Was not good in that game. And I would argue that was probably one of his worst performances he's ever had.
Easily. Now,
what happened there? Is this a concern that Pirates fans should have, or is this something? I don't think we should either. But I've seen a lot of stuff online. I'm like, wait a minute, seriously, it's one game. Like, there's 162 games in the year. Why are we complaining?
Everything I've just talked about is 10 times more concerning than Paul Skeens.
Thank you.
He did not have his best outing. He was. Now they had some really good at bats. That Mets lineup, I think, is the second most dangerous lineup in Major League Baseball. Well, maybe not in Major League Baseball, but in the National League behind the Dodgers. You could make that argument. And Luis Robert, of all people, like put up this great at bat against him. He laid off a pitch and got a walk. And the thing is with Skeens, yes, it wasn't his best outing. He didn't get through the first inning, but he easily would have got through that first inning giving up no more than 3 runs, probably less, maybe probably like 1 or 2 runs. If O'Neal Cruz makes the routine plays in that inning, he's out of the inning, and you get at least probably 4 innings, maybe even 5 innings out of him. And they probably win that game because they scored 7 runs. That was the one game so far the offense did well in. So I'm not concerned about it at all. I mean, when you throw 40 pitches in an inning because your center fielder can't make the routine plays, like you're going to get, even the best pitchers getting jams and don't have their best stuff. But Skeens is so good, he could work through that. And the outs were there, and they didn't make them. So Kelly made the right decision. You don't want your guy being taxed in the first inning of game 1 of 162 because they need Paul Skeens. Like if he were to get hurt, their season would be over. So no, I'm not concerned at all. I do think one thing that he got away with last year, just because he was so dominant, he'd often fall behind in counts because he was just trying to be a little too fine. And I think that's what happened in that game, especially against that dangerous of a lineup. So I think moving forward, he just has to realize, hey, I just need to attack the zone and not worry too much about hitting the corners because I'm just that good where they're not going to hit me. Yeah. And if they do, so what? It's better than giving guys free passes on the bases.
Exactly. Now, obviously, the Pirates still have a lot more games this year, and I know we were talking like briefly playoffs. I just want to get one quick thought on this because I actually have not covered this at all on the podcast yet this year. Do we have any early World Series predictions yet? Any favorites that you're looking at this year?
Well, we did on the podcast last week, episode 68. We made our National League predictions. Or no, our American League predictions. I think in the National League, like the NL West behind the Dodgers was always pretty strong. I don't think that's really. I think the Padres are still probably going to be a playoff team, but like, I don't know if they're what they were the last couple of years. The Phillies brought a lot of their guys back, but they're getting older, right? The Braves have all sorts of injuries with their pitching staff. They'll probably have a bounce back year, but like I'm worried about their pitching. And then you look at the NL Central, the Cubs. I don't know what to make of the Cubs. Like I guess they got better. They added some. They have better pitching this year, I think. But do I see them being as good as the Dodgers? No. Do I see them being the Dodgers in a series? No, I don't think so. The Brewers always find ways to win and make the playoffs, but their lineup never has the firepower to compete with a Dodgers team. So like, I just feel like it's the Dodgers and everybody else. Like the Mets, I feel like on paper have the closest thing to the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. It's hard to win 3 years in a row, and I mean in any sport, but I mean, they're the favorites in the NL. If I had to pick right now, I mean, I'd have the Dodgers coming out of the National League. The American League is much more interesting because the AL East is so good. Like, there are 4 teams who in that division who could win it and then can go to the World Series. Yankees, Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Orioles made a bunch of moves. Pete Alonso, their pitching staff is a lot better this year. The Blue Jays, obviously, they kind of came out of nowhere. I kind of expect the Blue Jays to potentially not be as good this year because I feel like they exceeded expectations. I can't give you an American League World Series prediction yet, but I will tell you my American League playoff teams. I had the Red Sox winning the AL East.
Okay.
Because their pitching depth, they have the best pitching in that division. And for me, through a long season, the pitching depth is what matters most. And you have Aroldis Chapman, who's back to superstar status at age 37 in the back end of that bullpen. And their outfield, if Roman Anthony, who's kind of like a Connor Griffin-esque prospect, if he continues to be as good as he's been, he was great for that Team USA team that couldn't hit. He was the only one hitting on that team in the WBC. If he continues on that trajectory, I think Boston's going to win that division. I also have the Yankees and the Blue Jays making it as wild card teams. I have the Tigers winning the division because last year they blew the biggest lead ever in a division to Cleveland. Cleveland was back 15 games and came back to win that division. So I think they're going to be hungry to win it. When you add Framber Valdez to Tarek Skubal to that top of rotation, that's the best 1-2 punch in baseball. And their lineup, they feel like they need a superstar bat, but it's from 1 to 9. There's good hitters all over that lineup. I have the Royals, I don't have the Royals making the playoffs. I have them just shy. I like the Royals, but I don't think their issue, similarly to the Pirates last year, was offense, and I don't think they have enough firepower yet on that offense, even with Bobby Witt Jr. And my surprise in the AL, everyone loves Seattle. I think similarly to Toronto, they kind of exceeded expectations. I don't think their offense is going to be as good this year. I think Cal Raleigh, he's actually struggled, but it's not even based on that. I kind of just think he's going to come back down to earth because I feel like last year was such an outlier for him to hit 60 home runs. He strikes out a ton, and if he only hits 35 home runs like he did most of his career, like, that's going to be a big drop-off for their offense. And they lost Jorge Polanco. They have Brendan Donovan, but I still think Jorge Polanco, that's still like a big loss for them. Their pitching is so good, though, I think they're going to make the playoffs. But I have the Texas Rangers actually winning that division.
Okay.
Because Houston, they're about to go in the rebuild mode. I feel like they're like the Steelers right now. Like, they should be rebuilding, but like, there's a lot of older players who are, talented and have done great things that they're holding on to. And like but they're not a team that's a World Series contender anymore. I don't think Houston is going to make the playoffs again. The Angels the Angels are like kind of like my second favorite team because they always have like good hitters, a good offense, but their pitching is always a disaster. It's just a bad organization. It's poorly run. And the A's will be interesting this year. Their offense is going to be really good. The question is, can they pitch? And
I feel like that's always been the question.
The Angels and the A's are kind of in the same category, but I think the A's are on a good trajectory in terms of having young guys in their lineup and some young pitchers coming up. But I feel like they're still a year away. And I think the Rangers, the talent has been there the last 2 years. They've just gotten off to the wrong foot. Bruce Bochy took them to the World Series. The last 2 years haven't been as good. They have a new manager, Skip Schumacher, who actually I thought did a good job with the Marlins, and they fired him for like no reason. He's the manager with the Rangers. And I think that lineup, you have McCutchen right now, who's on fire. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, great.
I don't think like he's gonna be like he's all of a sudden gonna be elite by any means, but like I think that's a nice piece for their offense. But if Corey Seager can stay healthy, you have Jake Berger who's a nice power hitter at third. Wyatt Langford, who was the number 3 overall pick, I think in the Skeens draft. They have a deep lineup. And the issue has been, can their pitching stay healthy? If Nate Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, I'm forgetting someone else. Oh, they traded for Mackenzie Gore. That's a really good top 3 of the rotation. I think they're going to be a surprise team this year. I just feel like the last 2 years, they've just caught some bad breaks and have had some bad slumps and some injuries. Like, I feel like this year, they got to be a playoff team at least. So we'll see about that. And their bullpen last year was surprisingly really good. They had a bunch of like random players in their bullpen, but like they did really well. So it's more of a I'm downgrading Seattle than I really believe in Texas. But I feel like with some of the older players and veterans they have, and some of the pitching they have, like, this got to be the year they're a better team. Mm-hmm. After they just literally won the World Series in 2023, like, they got to get back here, I feel like. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I've seen a lot of stuff, too, about the Mariners and Blue Jays dropping off, too, so that checks out, because I was doing some research on it, and I actually had the Mariners, I think it was like a year or two ago, I had the Mariners as a favorite in one of the brackets I was doing with my family, and they were doing pretty well, and then they just like slowly dropped off, and I'm like, yeah, no, they're not going to be the same team they once were.
I mean, last year they finally won a playoff series, and
first time in how long?
They were so close, I don't even know.
It was a long time, right?
A long time.
Like 18, 19 years or something like that? I could be
Might
wrong.
have been longer.
Even longer? Oh, wow.
Because the 2001 Mariners, which set with Ichiro Suzuki's rookie year, they set the league record for wins. They didn't make it out of the first. They lost to the Yankees in the NLDS that year. And I think ever since that year, they had just been in purgatory. They had a couple good years where they made the playoffs and just didn't do anything. Mm. And I remember they were in a playoff drought for a long time, like the Pirates. And one year they were like a game shy of making it. It was just like pain for Seattle. Seattle's got it. I mean, the Seahawks.
How about that? Seahawks?
I think the Kraken might be making the playoffs. I could be very wrong about that.
Expansion team now announced in the NBA coming back to Seattle, too. I mean, hey, they're cooking
Seattle's
up there.
on the up and up right now, like legitimately.
Out to Seattle.
Legitimately.
They're like Pittsburgh, but with more rain. It's crazy.
Yeah. But the Seahawks, I was so happy for the Seahawks.
Oh, I'm a big Sam Darnold guy, so I'm happy.
Me too.
Love
we
Sam
both
Darnold.
have the Jets jersey now.
We do. I saw you rock it, too, in the episode.
I bought one for the Super Bowl because it's going to be half off. I just, that Malcolm Butler's interception just set them back for so long.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, not that long, really, if you think about it. But, and for them to not only get a Super Bowl win that they should have had, to do it against the team that beat them in that game, I think was super special.
Oh, yeah.
And Sam Darnold, he's always had the talent, and he just needed the right coaching. But that's not. People are saying, who's going to be the next Sam Darnold? I don't think there is a next Sam Darnold.
I agree. Sam Darnold is 1-1.
You have to have the talent that he did, number one. And number two, you have to find the right coach to be able to be willing to be a backup as a high draft pick, right? Mm-hmm. Now, he may have not had any options, but at that point, because after he went to Carolina, he probably didn't have, but to sit and learn under San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan, then go with Kevin O'Connell, huge mistake by mid. I knew it would be a huge mistake. I didn't think Seattle would win the Super Bowl this year, but I was on our podcast. I was the only guy who had Seattle in the playoffs this year, and actually, I think both of them had your beloved Arizona Cardinals in the playoffs.
I tried telling them, don't pick the Cardinals. I tried telling them, don't you dare. And, I think it was Jake Bell that said it. He was like, yeah, I think I'm going to pick your Cardinals. I said, don't pick them. I was like, trust me.
You know what? Oh, gee. I'll tell you what.
Listen, Peyton, that franchise right there is responsible for so many sleepless nights or barely any sleep nights. It is bad. It is bad. At least they beat the Cowboys every time they play them, so I'll take that.
That was Jacoby Brissett legacy
Master game. Oh, my gosh. I hope you know. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know out of the last 9 times the Cardinals played the Cowboys, they have beaten them?
They're 9-0.
9-0 in their last 9 games, and 3 of those games were with backup quarterbacks.
Wow.
I love that stat. It's my favorite stat.
That's a hang the They got to put a banner up in the stadium.
Up. Yeah, the Cowboys, I don't think...
When Nick Brown comes back to the podcast, if he comes back, I don't know what's going on there.
That's Lucas for you. Yeah.
We're putting a banner right over his head. Arizona Cardinals 9-0 against Dallas.
We'll take that. I'll put a big Cardinals one right here. We'll put the 0-9 next to Nick Brown and above his head.
There you go.
0-9. I love it.
But I like the LaFleur hire. originally. We're diving into football now. I like the LaFleur hire originally because he's LaFleur. LaFleur. We like to say LaFleur. He's the butter of Matt LaFleur, and he comes from the Shanahans and the Kubiaks and the LaFleurs. They're all cousins. They all do the same stuff. And obviously, the McVay tree specifically. But some of his coaching staff decisions I did not like.
Can I tell you the one I don't like?
You. I know what you're going to say.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I assume Mike LaFleur is going to be running the offense.
As of right now, yeah.
But, why would you hire Nathaniel Hackett? And then I mean, this isn't as big of a deal because he has a smaller role, but you hired Terrell Austin as a defensive assistant, and Terrell Austin, he didn't do anything here. So
no, I will say, I mean, I wanted Drew Petzing gone so bad because I feel like him being the coordinator last year was god awful.
And now the Lions have, and people are like, "That's a good hire." I'm like,
Petzing? No.
Petzing, why are the Lions bringing in Petzing?
No,
Go ahead.
They're cooked. But yeah, no, I think that was probably one of the worst moves they could have made was bringing in Nathaniel Hackett. Because I get it. Yes, sure, he was a solid coordinator in the past. But do I need to bring up what he did? No, come on.
He was terrible with the Jets.
Awful. Absolutely awful. And then don't even bring up that whole Broncos debacle,
my goodness.
that he had. Oh, good. Oh, no. No. It was awful.
What do you guys, I mean, you really... I guess you're just going to tank another year because...
I feel like we are.
With Jacoby Brissett? Is he still on the roster?
He is. It's Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew.
That's right.
That's the quarterback room.
Now, that is the best backup quarterback duo of the century.
And I feel like we're going to draft someone in the later rounds, too. Because
you can't take... What do you guys have, the third pick?
Third pick. We're not taking Simpson. If we take Simpson, I'm going to crash out.
No, you can't.
No. And I saw rumors of Drew Aller in the third. I'm like, no. I'm not a Drew Aller guy. I'm not a Penn State fan whatsoever.
If you get... To me, he's a fifth-round pick.
Thank you.
But in this draft, he's probably going to be a third-round pick because the quarterback class... Everyone was hyped. Going into this season, everyone was like, this quarterback class... Kate, what's his name?
Cade Klubnik?
I almost called him Clint Kubiak.
Clint Kubiak?
Speaking of, I love that hire for the Raiders. But
same here.
Cade Klubnik... Drew Aller,
Diego Pavier.
The kid from South Carolina, he's staying another year, I think, in college.
Yeah, Lenore Sellers, yeah.
Just a lot of guys did not pan out.
What about Nussmeier from LSU?
Oh, I like Nussmeier. I think, honestly, if LSU had a competent coaching staff and a competent offensive line, I think he'd be graded above Simpson, and he'd be a first-round pick. But LSU just had such a disastrous season. He's not getting the love. I would love the Steelers to draft him in the third round. I would love that. I think what I like about him is, and I feel like this has been an issue for a lot of Steelers. Going from Pickett to even Aaron, who I thought did a great job this year. The ability to hang in the pocket and read the field. Not that Aaron obviously reads the field very well, but hanging in the pocket and willing to stay in there an extra second and potentially take that hit to make the clutch throw that needs to be made is something that we saw from Garrett Nussmeier because he took a beating, but he would stay in that pocket, man, and make some big throws. And I like Ty Simpson too, but I'd much rather take Garrett Nussmeier in the third round than waste the first-round pick on Ty Simpson. When there's so many holes, there's so many areas of need on the roster and you have 12 draft picks. I'd have no problem with them running it back with Rodgers again. And people are like, well, why don't you just tank with Will Howard? We know that that's just not how the Steelers operate. No. They're not going to... Now, Will Howard, I hope he proves something in camp. But I think he's a career backup. He never really impressed me that much in college. The hype for Will Howard in Pittsburgh, though, people love him.
Which is crazy.
They love him. And I'm not a hater. I just kind of take him for what he is, which I think he's as a sixth-round pick, you're destined to be a career backup unless you get an opportunity and you prove otherwise. And it's possible. It's Brock Purdy, Tom Brady, but it's rare. I mean, the majority of quarterbacks, of the elite franchise quarterbacks come in the first round in the top 10 picks. That's just the majority. That's just where it is. It's just a proven fact.
Couldn't agree more. Now, I do have one last question actually for you. That's totally off topic, if that's okay. I want to transition out of football, which I do want to actually say one thing real quick. I don't think Will Howard's going to be a starter either. I think he's going to be career backup, honestly. And I feel like
there's nothing wrong with being a good backup. I mean, he has size. He seems like a really smart kid. He listens. Aaron Rodgers loved him as Aaron mentored him this year,
which is great for him. Honestly,
I think he's going to be a respectable player. I don't know. I don't think the ceiling is all that high.
Yeah, and I feel like Mendoza is probably really the only quarterback that's really being looked at as like a first-round threat.
Yeah, he's going number one.
He's going number one overall. I think it's already match made in heaven with the Raiders. Yeah. But I don't know if I asked you this on Steel City or not, and I feel like this is a great way to end off the episode. I ask every guest this that comes on the podcast, and even if you did, again, new audience, so let's see what they have to say about this. What's the go-to restaurant for Pirate Peyton? Favorite place to grab a meal? I'm a foodie.
Boy.
I love to eat.
Me too.
Love to eat. I feel like this is a great way to end things off.
You know what? I'm gonna shout out this place. It's not necessarily my favorite restaurant, but I think it deserves some. This is for the Point Park audience. For those who don't know,
please don't say the dining hall.
No.
Okay.
No. Oh my gosh.
That was President Brassalis' answer.
Well,
yeah.
He has certain obligations. I feel like it doesn't get enough attention. Like, it's kind of like hidden. It's a hidden gem in Pittsburgh. It's called, actually in Market Square. It's literally right on campus. It's literally, you go to where the ice rink is, you make that left there. It's literally right there. It's called the Berg. Chicken and pizza. And here's the thing, for Point Park students, they give 20% off. If you show your ID, your Point Park ID, they give you 20% off. And the chicken, I mean, it's bang for your buck. It is big pieces of chicken. And they have this house sauce that you put on your chicken sandwich. Like, really good. Like, that's like my go-to place if I don't want to go to Bison Bites and Brew, because I do not go to the dining hall. Like, that's, as a commuter, like, no. So, Bison Bites and Brew is obviously, I go there for a lot of my meals. When I'm here for like a long day like today, I'm on the podcast with you. I'm doing sideline in a little bit. But yeah, the Berg pizza. And I've actually never tried the pizza just because I love the chicken.
Yeah.
But like, if you're a Point Park student looking for something good to eat and for a good price, go to the Berg. The
Berg it is.
Literally right there next to the ice rink, and it's all they're color coded in black and gold. So that's a Yinzer place right there. So I love the Berg.
Okay.
And the guy who owns it, and then another guy that works with them, they actually are soccer officials. Like, they've officiated Point Park.
Oh, that's
soccer
crazy.
games.
That's crazy. It's all connected in one big circle. Love that.
Yeah, I'll say it, like, as far as like a fancy restaurant is concerned. Recently, I went in. This is another Market Square. I went to what's it called? I forget what it's called. It's an Italian place.
Not City Works. No.
No. It's I do like City Works though too. It's an Italian place. I went there a couple of months last month. It's right next to the Subway in Market Square.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like,
What the heck is it called? I'm losing my mind, but anyway,
I know
you know what I'm talking about.
If you know kind of thing.
Right.
Well, Peyton, I do appreciate you so much for coming on the podcast today. It's an honor having you on here. You're on Steel City. I was on We Are Family. We definitely got to run that back eventually.
Absolutely.
Do you have any final words? Do you want to leave? Maybe plug some stuff, shout some stuff out before we end things off today?
Yeah, check out our podcast on YouTube. I already said that earlier, but check out our podcast on YouTube and come to Pioneer Live on April 13th. We're gonna be there.
We Are Family representing there.
We Are Family is gonna be representing for sure.
I love that.
I'm excited.
It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time for sure. But Peyton, thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother.
So much for making this happen, and thank you all so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Two Jagoffs. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and go check out the We Are Family crew. They're great people over there. Great people. Until next time, I'm Austin Cairns. That's Pirate Peyton. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.